Kavita, let me know when we are live.
We are just going live, Sumanta. So, Sumanta, take some 2, 3 breath and then start, okay? Or you can just see my thumbs up.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the National Career Counselors Network Expert Chat. And this series is started by National Career Counselors Network to ease out the burnout for the students, because all of us know that CBSE, ICSE, most of the boards have cancelled the remaining exams, and all of you must be slightly worried, slightly panicked, and most of you would be in confused state. Though people would have already done the clarity on what careers, what paths they should take, but the pandemic has done everything upside down. That's the reason why we decided that during the lockdown phase of two, we would come out with a series which will continue every week, every Saturday, same time you can see us with a new expert and someone from the NCCN core team who would be actually sharing the insights and will be topic of the topic. The registration process is entirely complimentary. All you have to do is there is a registration link which is shared on the Zoom as well as on the Facebook Live. What you can do is you can just pick up your phone, smartphone, and fill up the form. Share your questions with us, and we will ensure that our experts are answering on it. Now, to give you a brief about what is National Career Counselors Network, it is a forum, it's an epic body of professionals committed to promote the career guidance movement in the country. So, the objective is that we want to bring the capabilities of mentees and to compete them globally so that every student, every person can choose their career rightly and to make themselves employable. Even if they are not employable, if they're going for the entrepreneurship, if they want to start up their own startup, they are equipped with the proper tools, guidance, and the knowledge so that students can actually take a right decision using their own capability, unleashing their strength. So the mission of NCCN is to provide a professional development for the career mentors, and how it is going to help is it's like a bridge, it's like the building blocks of any building, wherein the career counselors who would be able to highly impress you, inspire you, and empower you as an individual so that you are taking the right career path. Now, this expert chat series, as I've said, it would be a weekly thing. Starting from today, we will have different domains, experts who will be talking to you on various career options. So you can give your questions on live session. You can actually share the questions with us, and we will be happy to share the questions. And once the question has been answered, in case if you miss this session, we will share the recording with you so that you can actually find the answer to your question. I hope I am making sense, and NCCN is taking care of the complete thing. Now, to understand what is today's scenario, post COVID, the scenario has changed to a great extent, wherein the things which were going on the boom have come down. Things which are not in the boom, they have gone up. And one of the things which has survived during the COVID is people who are digitally savvy or technically savvy, or in the other words, if I have to say, which has only thing which has survived today is e-learning. Everything has gone online. We are digital. Even if teachers who are used to write and teach you with chalk and talk methods, now they are coming online. With this, there is an e-learning platform which are emerging up, and with the over 370 million internet users, you can see how many people can actually come online and handle it. Now, we have to see it is over $3 billion industry which is coming in the place, and everyone is going online. Most of you, when the lockdown has started, you were hooked up with YouTube, Netflix, Hotstar, XYZ. But now you can see there are multiple things which are coming, and today's news is saying that no longer Zoom Meet and other things are required. Geo Meet is coming, which is affordable and made in India, made for India. So with this, I would like to call upon our experts today, Ms. Kavita Rai, who is the counseling psychologist. She is an associate editor for the Career Beacon, co-founder for Concept, which is mostly into the career guidance services, and she is associated with National Career Counselors Network as general secretary. So now I would request Kavita to come and share her insights on the e-learning topic. And along with Kavita, we will have another expert who's going to share all the details about online things, and the things are handled by him. He is a co-founder, and I will not share anything about that person because our co-host, Ms. Kavita Rai, she will take over. Kavita is MA in psychology. She has got 8 years of experience in corporate. She worked with multiple companies as a project manager, especially with the hospitality industry in the Taj Mansingh. And for taking care of her family, because she is blessed with two sons, she has thought of taking an alternate career of bringing herself into the counseling psychology, and she continued her education. She pursued her passion. She is into a career also. With this, I give a warm welcome to Kavita. Kavita, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sunanda, so much for the warm welcome, and I'm really humbled. Uh, Thank you, everyone, for being with us and joining us today on this expert chat. And today we will be talking about how to use e-learning to get ahead in your career with Mr. Saurabh Nanda. And before we start this, I like to give you one
I
figure.
have a question, Kavita.
Yes.
I have a question, Kavita. Kavita, in last few weeks, I've been observing you on Facebook on something on Stop Today, where you're talking about the addiction. And yesterday, I saw something that you were doing on Instagram. Before you start the formal session, I would like to know what exactly is Stop Today, not Stop Today. What is about addiction? That what is your expertise on addiction? Because many of the people who are listening to us, they are everything. Even I am also addicted for something, not to the narcotics, but to the YouTube or to the tea or something else. So I would like to know how to take care of, since you are a psychologist, counseling psychologist especially. I would like to know a bit about that. Also, on yesterday's Instagram, I missed out some of the portion. So I would like to take an excuse from all the viewers who are asking. I would like to know a bit about what was it.
Thank you so much, Sunanda. Stop Today, I'm a core member with them, and they work on varied addictions with the youth, with the vision and mission to eradicate addiction from India. Every week we come and discuss about different kind of addiction, just not the substance abuse. It can be being aggression, being screen time, as you talk about, being addicted to the food. So it is about each and everything that hampers a youth from succeeding in their career, in their academics, and puts them, take the back seat. So we help them. We want through this mission, we would like them to understand about the repercussion it is having on their studies, on their career, and on the future in a long run, and the steps they can take to come out of it and succeed in life. And with regard to yesterday's session, it was by Spirit of Youth, where Delhi University students work, and they like to bring up the, developing the skills for the students which are not part of academics. When we talk about soft skills, we talk about life skills, we talk about yesterday's topic was how you can balance your personal and professional life. For being students, it is more on academics or internship, but still these are the learnings which are not part of the academia, which need to be understood, and students need to be enriched and equipped with these skills so that they can face their career and make it a happy career. And ultimately, I is making helping the youth to reach their full potential is close to my heart, and this is what I work for. So this is about it.
That's really great, Kavita. No, good to have you on board, wherein you are sharing so many things, and every day we can see you on some social media channels, sometimes on Facebook, sometimes on LinkedIn, sometimes on YouTube. And yesterday you were in Insta. Good to know. So with this, I would like to know if you can just share a little bit of what is today's topic, and from there on you can take up with our guest speakers.
Definitely, you know, e-learning was already a booming industry, but with the corona and pandemic, it has just put that growth in a fast forward manner, I would say. It is one of the industry that has evolved as a emerging field for you, and it can help you in both the ways. It can help you to get ahead in your careers with online courses, plus you can make a career out of it. That's why we have Mr. Saurav Nanda. He's an expert in this. And if I tell you, just quote a figure, that e-learning market size is set to exceed USD 375 billion by 2026. This is according to the Global Market Insight Incorporation. So it is more imperative that children need to understand the relevance, importance, and how they can use it. So we have with today Mr. Saurav Nanda. He's a educational psychologist, trainer, career consultant, and e-learning expert and podcaster. He's a computer engineer from NIT Jalandhar, MA Clinical Psychology, currently pursuing PG Diploma, Sustainability Sciences. He's a learner in a true meaning. And last year, he was selected for the fellowship at Awaji Youth Federation in Japan. There, he developed a web platform for sharing SDG innovations from around the world. He has more than 8 years of experience in various domains of the education industry. He brings his computer engineering experience, IT experience to the educational guidance. He has impacted over 14,000 students and parents in India, Denmark, and Japan. He is a co-founder of Happy Career Project, which helps students and young professionals to find solutions to career problems. Welcome, Saurabh.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for welcoming me. And thank you so much, NCCN, Sunanda Rao, ma'am, and all the other participants here to make, who have made this webinar a great success. You guys are doing an amazing job, because this topic, as you rightly said, is probably the most relevant topic right now, both for parents and students at home, and also for educators in schools and institutions and universities. So thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and having me here.
Welcome, Saurabh, and wonderful to have you. I'm sure all the students who are here, they will definitely benefit out of it. And as a parent also, I think it will be a very eye-opening thing, because earlier it was not looked upon, e-learning was not looked upon with that importance. And pandemic has shown how relevant and how, evolving segment it is, and we cannot ignore it. We have to embrace it, and we have to move forward. So I like to ask you the question which I've received from a student from Bulandshahr. He asked that what all things are considered part of e-learning, because there are a lot of format of e-learning, and what can e-learning offer which conventional learnings cannot offer?
So that's a very good question, actually. And there are very few people or organizations which are defining what e-learning is. So e-learning, to put it simply, is when you start learning using any electronic media or devices. It can be your phone, it can be computer, it can be your iPad or tablet if you have one, or it can also be your smart TV. So as you rightly said, Kavita ma'am, the thing is that it way back, I mean, when, in India, all the dish TV became very popular. And we have these amazing brands, Tata Sky and Z Dish and so many others. Um, a lot of those providers, a lot of those content providers also used to provide content for children so that they can learn. So you can use a TV remote and switch on the Tata Sky channel, and you will be able to learn a lot over there. So that is also part of e-learning, right? So the moment we switched from paper to any kind of digital device, it became part of e-learning.
Right.
Now, but if we look at this, then it started basically with the advent of computers, which was, in the late 70s. So e-learning is such a broad description. And the second question here becomes very relevant when we talk about e-learning, that what can we take out of it, which conventional learning cannot provide us.
Right.
Now, during this pandemic, suddenly everyone is on the e-learning platforms, especially talking about conventional education systems like schools and universities. Before that, they were just not interested. A lot of test prep companies, tutors, career consultants like you and I, we would be using, computers and the internet a lot, but the conventional system, schools and universities will not do that. A lot of students, but after school, most of the school students would not really use internet a lot to learn. A lot of students after school, when they are in college, they would do a lot of courses from these e-learning platforms like Coursera, edX, and Udemy. In India now we have Byju's, Camu, and all these places. So they would use those courses to upskill themselves. How can we improve, not really improve, but what are the different things over here as compared to conventional education? Well, if you have ever taken an e-learning course, like before the pandemic, and let's talk about the pandemic a little later, but before the pandemic, you would have realized that e-learning offers you speed. It offers you a great amount of speed. You can learn something according to when you want to learn. So the second thing is flexibility. When you want to learn, how fast or how slow you want to learn, how many times you want to repeat it, it's all available. You can watch the same lesson again and again. You can attempt the same assignment again and again. You can watch it lying down on your bed. You can watch the video at twice the speed. And all that flexibility was not available in a school system or a university system, where the lecturer will come in the class one time. Maybe there will be a remedial session once in 2 weeks, and the students can probably ask doubts over there. But over here, speed and flexibility are the main two advantages which students have right now. Apart from that, you are given feedback based on data. So let's say, somebody is doing a course, and they realize, okay, I'm performing in this course. Let me see how well am I performing. So you can see that as compared to the rest of the people who are attempting the course. So where do you stand? Then you can see how much time you take to watch a video. Then you can see how much time you take to solve an assignment. Then you see how much you have scored in the past 1 month, which month was most productive, which day was most productive, and all that data is instantly available to you, which in a school setting is not easily available. In a university setting, definitely not available. So all those things are advantages of e-learning systems, not only for students but also for teachers.
Very rightly put in, I would say in a bullet points, if I say flexibility, speed, it is student based, and it's a data driven.
Yeah.
So you know your performance when it is at peak, when it is going down, and how much time you are taking. So I think it's a wonderful way to put them and sum up. So if I go to next question, it is from Rashid Ahmed, and it is in relevance to this only. He's asking, will the present subjects or curriculum enough to meet the need of future careers? And what is the status of e-learning in India?
So very good question, Rashid. Let me congratulate you on that very practical and very important question. Yes. Are the current subjects enough? So let me ask you this question. Do you think, are you taught how to use YouTube in school? Are you taught how to go online and go to Coursera and Udemy and attempt a course? Are you? Not really. So do we need to change our subjects? Absolutely, we need to change our subjects. And not only that, so see, e-learning is there. E-learning has a lot of advantages, but e-learning is not perfect. Just like our conventional education systems are not perfect, e-learning is also not perfect. So in the future, when we need to make this better, I mean, just in the past 3 months, we have seen there is such a huge change and improvement in how we do e-learning. Schools and universities have suddenly invested in apps like Zoom, or they have started investing in new software like learner management systems. So they have improved the experience, but it is still very far away from how you should really learn. Because guess what? In e-learning, the teacher aspect is not available. And this is where I come to the second question. In India right now, e-learning does not have a very, very good, status. The entire system right now is kind of struggling to make ends meet. And it is not really the fault of anybody over here, because such a pandemic, nobody could expect such a pandemic to be there, and nobody could expect that suddenly we will have to go online. And then at the same time, let's say, okay, fine, so we have to go online, but I don't have a computer. And all of a sudden you realize, I can't go to the market, I can't buy it on Amazon because everything is closed. So for those initial first 2 months, it was very, very difficult. Mostly, the other part is India is a middle income economy. We are, still not rich, or not everyone has the same amount of disposable income. And because of COVID-19, the incomes have reduced. If there is a household where there is only one proper smartphone, and mostly that smartphone, and studies suggest that mostly that smartphone belongs to the husband or the father or the male head of the family, that smartphone might not be given to the child to actually study. And then on top of that, what exactly is e-learning during pandemic right now? E-learning is basically, the teachers are trying to teach you in the same way how they would teach in the classroom. So just imagine, on the wall behind me, if I put a whiteboard or a blackboard and I'm writing something on with chalk, and I want you to listen to that, like in the class itself, the focus and concentration of students is such a big problem. Can you imagine a student looking at a small screen on his phone with a internet connection which is not very great, and they're trying to first of all listen to the audio? Okay, what is the teacher exactly saying? And then they are trying to focus, because the video is not clear, it's pixelated. Okay, what kind of equation has been written over there, what is the question, and so on. The experience just becomes worse. In fact, here I would like to quote a study also, which was done in 2016 and 17, in one of the charter schools in the US, in San Francisco area. Now what they did was, they decided that, actually it was done in 2015, now I remember. And what they did was, they decided to give iPads to everyone. It was a political move as well. They decided to give iPads to everyone. And even in our India, in UP, Akhilesh Yadav government had decided to give laptops to everyone, a lot of students. Now, whatever happened in India, well, we don't really have the data. I can't really talk about it. But in the US, we do have data, which found out that even after giving iPads to the students, their performance didn't really improve. In fact, in a lot of cases, it actually decreased. Why? Because you are thinking that giving somebody a laptop, giving somebody a Zoom link will automatically create e-learning. And that is the presumption, that is the premise that all of Indians are living with today, that theek hai boss, agar if you have an internet connection, e-learning is happening for you. They are just assuming e-learning is happening. That is what the schools are also assuming. But that is not what e-learning exactly is. And that is why the state of e-learning in India right now is not that great, although everyone is putting in efforts. We have seen that amazing picture. I wrote an article, actually a cover story for a magazine which will be published soon. In that, I specially mentioned that teacher, that chemistry teacher from Pune, who used all her science jugaad to just fix a smartphone on the chair. It is hung by ropes, and then she's writing and doing things. So people are making efforts, but e-learning is not what is happening in India right now. We are just using the computer to reach out to you. So I won't call it the best e-learning which is happening right now. On top of that, education technology is very, closely linked to e-learning. And in India, sadly, most of the education technology which is happening is basically happening like you make a video, you publish it. आप उसको free में, either you free, publish it freely on YouTube. Everyone from UPSC teachers, from college professors, everyone is doing that. Or you make a video on one of these apps like Unacademy, and then you publish it. And they call it educational technology. That is not educational technology at all. That is just publishing content, which YouTubers have been doing since 2007. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, definitely with regard to the status on e-learning. But from Rashid point of view, I'll just like to ask, I think he is meant by this question is how e-learning can be used to optimize their career apart from their academic, which is a part of their course.
Okay, so that's a very good question. So Rashid, again, very good question. Now, just like technology has made our lives simpler in a lot of ways, right? If we just talk about telecom, 5 years before what was happening, we couldn't even imagine that we would have 4G, speeds right now, but we do. So it makes life very easy. It can be, the same can be done with education when you use technology. First of all, is the first thing is, whenever you study a subject, now let's say you have an NCERT book in front of you and you're trying to read something. It can be any subject. By the way, just for information, NCERT books are freely available for download on the Swayam website by Government of India. There's also a website called National Digital Library. Both these are being developed and managed by IIT Kharagpur, but all the IGNOU, UGC, CBSE, everyone is involved in that. So freely available content is there. Now let's say you download that PDF, all right? A, it is there in your device, so you can access it anytime. B, you can cut paste things out of it. So all those things are normal. Now just imagine you read the entire PDF, you maybe understood some of it. Now what you can do is you can search the same topic going online and watching videos. First of all, watch documentaries. Secondly, then watch people who are describing the entire issue. Thirdly, and this is more important, so when we are in our educational conventional systems in India, we are listening to Indian teachers. But with the internet, you have the option of listening to people from across the world. So the perspectives completely change. Now, very nice story here. The first time I started understanding what computer programming was, I'm a computer engineer. How it was taught to me was very different. It was a very theoretical Indian way of teaching it. This is a class, this is an object, this is how you do it, types of classes, classification. I'm like, am I going to write an answer like a history answer, or am I going to write a program? So I went on the MIT website. MIT is that famous college that we all know, the university, and they were offering free courses for object oriented programming. Their way of teaching was completely different. And if I say I know a bit of programming, it's basically because what I learned from there. So the perspectives matter a lot. Aapko kai baar, you will not be able to understand a lot of times what is being taught in the Indian context. Guess what? Across the world, people have figured out innovative ways of teaching that. So that is the second part, perspective. All right, the perspective changes. Third is you do online assessments. All right. Now, when I say online assessments, in schools and colleges, what kind of assessments do we have? There's a list of questions. You keep on answering the question, right? So yes, you can do that also online. But at the same time, what you can do is you can interact with a lot of people. So let's say you're into programming. So you go on websites like Fiverr or Freelancer or Elance, and then start taking up projects. You make a profile on GitHub. You actually start working on live projects. Or you can communicate and collaborate with more people to do programming. That learning will not be available in your college or university. That community-based learning from across the world is still missing. So these are some of the three main aspects of how e-learning can completely change your learning and make you a better professional in your career.
Beautifully answered, Saurabh. I'm sure that it will help a lot of students to apply their knowledge. When we say experiential learning, I think e-learning online tools are available that they can use, and definitely go ahead and increase their perspective and even their knowledge. So next question is from Uttarakhand, and she's asking, please tell us how to use e-learning in the most effective way possible, and what are the good qualities of e-learning apps, especially in today's scenario when you have n numbers of sites, n number of people that we are giving you e-learning. So how do you decide which is good for me?
So very, very important question. In fact, again, a couple of weeks ago, I was approached by a gentleman on LinkedIn, and they said, we would like to collaborate with you. I said, all right, yeah, let's collaborate. And they wanted to basically make videos and publish them online. So I was interested in knowing who they are. And I think all of us have heard of, or maybe even used, R.S. Agarwal mathematics books.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
So that gentleman was the son of Mr. R.S. Agarwal, who has his own publishing company in Ghaziabad. And they are also getting into online publishing now. And that is where the confusion comes from. So yes, we already have established players. Then we have newer players who are equally good, like Mr. R.S. Agarwal and his company. And then we have individual YouTube videos. And then we have big media houses. Jagran Josh, Amar Ujala, and then English media houses. They're all investing in content and learning. Amazon has launched its own IIT JEE app. So how do you choose? It's a very important question. First thing is, you need to understand what you want to learn. If you know that, then you can easily decide which app to go for, which not to go for. Just like you order food on Zomato or Swiggy, or if you want to order something online on Flipkart or Paytm Mall or anything, or Amazon, you watch the reviews, right? You will see that all of these websites have reviews of teachers, of content, of everything. But if you don't know what you want to learn, then you will be confused, right? So first is that, the simplest way. Second is, just like how you go offline. Now, a lot of students go for tuitions and go for test prep in India. How do you decide which test prep in your city is the best? Well, you take demo classes. And that is why you will see a lot of these online apps also give you free classes, free lectures that come, watch, see, experience. That is the second way. Third way, now this is important. Now let's say you have decided which app to go for, you've decided which course to go for, you've decided the entire thing has been planned for you. But how are you approaching it? What is your plan for it? Because looking at screens all day, we were discussing about screen addiction in the beginning. Looking at screens all day is not going to help you. And I already told you about the study with the iPads in the US. Just having a device does not improve learning. So you need to plan, just like in school or college, that this is the time I'm going to study. By this time, I'm going to finish. By this time, I'm going to have doubt sessions. This is what my plan of study is. These are the things that I'm going to do in my project or not. Only then e-learning can be effective for you. If you think before sleeping and you're fed up of social media, you're fed up of Netflix and YouTube videos, you suddenly decide, okay, today before sleeping, let me spend my last 2 hours before sleeping on internet on e-learning. That is not going to help you. So if you think lying down on your bed and watching some videos on what is sociology and what are the different aspects of sociology, they're not going to help you. You have to plan it out. You have to sit in front of a computer, and how to sit also. So in the morning itself, I took a session with a very big school in Noida, and it was about social media usage, how to use e-learning. And the surprising thing is, people talked a lot about screen time, eye strain. On your phone, you can have blue light sensors and whatever, but they never talked about the fact that how do you sit on your chair? Because all day long, you're sitting on a chair now. So ergonomically, you have to be very careful. Your feet have to be flat, your back has to be straight, your eyes have to be right at the top of your computer. The eye level has to be like that. Then what happens to your hands? You keep on scrolling, your thumbs get tired. So carpal tunnel syndrome, RSI, all these things you need to keep in mind. Then you need to make a plan and sit for it properly. If your parents ask you, if your friends ask you, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You need to tell them कि अब घर में ही पाठशाला है. Now the school is in my house. So you need to respect the boundaries over there. I need to respect the boundaries over there. Only then we can make use of this time. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
Very rightly said, and definitely we need to take care of our health. And the first important thing is how we sit on chair. Even whenever you're sitting with a pen, paper, and book, also that time also is so critical. How your sitting posture, how you're doing your studies, all that matters, and the time you are utilizing for study. It should be, when your focus is maximum. It should not be the number of hours. It should be optimizing your time for the study. So that is the key, I would say, mantra for doing any kind of study, which need to be taken care.
Absolutely. I would just like to, sorry.
Yes, please.
I would just like to add one tip over here. Very important tip, guys, for all the people who are there using e-learning devices today. Please follow the rule of 20-20-20. That means what? After every 20 minutes, you have to take a 20-second break. So you cannot look at the screen after every 20 seconds. You have to take a break of 20 seconds. And the third 20 means you have to look somewhere in the distance 20 feet away. 20 feet is almost 7 meters, right? Or 6.5 meters. So you have to look at something and concentrate on something 20 meters away, because only then your eyes will have less strain. So please remember this 20-20-20. All right. So this is just a tip for all of you.
Wonderful tip. People will remember, because 2020 cricket, everybody remembers. I'm sure this will stay in their mind. Definitely. And you have already answered my next question, which was on how can student and teachers compensate for the increased screen time, and how can student create their own e-learning environment. If you like to add something to it, but
absolutely.
Yes.
So 20-20-20 is easy to remember. Absolutely. Please remember to take breaks after every 20 minutes. Even if you're going for social media and everything, Instagram pe aap hain, but please take a break after 20 minutes. The second part is, if you're using a desktop, all right, if you're using a computer or a laptop, what you can do is you can order these screens. These are separate screens which you can find online on every, every e-commerce website. They protect you from the radiation coming from the screen. Now, all these screens, they emit a lot of blue light. All right. So blue light, what it does is it harms your eyes. So if you can look at my glasses and you can see the reflection on my glasses, you will see a green colored reflection on my glasses, right? That is because my glasses have anti-glare coating. And this is a very common thing. There is nothing special about it. So first, you can protect the screen. You can put a layer in front of the screen. Second, if you wear glasses, you should have anti-glare glasses or anti-blue lens also. This is a new technology used primarily for phones. Now, if you don't use glasses, even then, I will recommend that you get zero power glasses, where zero power glasses, even though they are, sorry, am I audible? Okay. Zero power glasses, what they do is you can wear them while you are, reading something on the internet, and then take them off later. Third thing is your mobile phone. Now, on your mobile phone, there is a setting in display and brightness, both for Android, iPhone, or any other technology also, where you can use low power light or night mode. All right. What it does is it makes the screen a little bit yellow. So you might not see the same brightness. The colors will change a little, but it is good for your eyes. I have been using that same technology for past 5 years now, because my work involves so much with computers and mobile phones. I cannot take the risk of not being healthy. The other thing is, when you have done all these things, you're ergonomically safe. Your hands are safe from carpal tunnel or repetitive strain injury. So bar karna, it's called repetitive strain injury, or RSI. you need to know that you have to take a break. That is the most important thing. The break is for your mind. What happens is, even if you go away from the screen, your mind is still stuck there. Your mind is still processing what I read and what I did not do. Your brain gets overwhelmed. Right from the beginning, all the students and everyone has been told that your body needs rest, proper rest. So you should sleep at night, 6, 7, 8 hours is, I think, a good amount of time, but you should sleep. And nowadays it has kind of reversed. Now we need to sleep 8 hours so that, well, physically, sure, you will get some rest, but more importantly, it is rest for your mind. So the devices, they are information devices. Your mind is an information device. You need to give rest to both. So I think, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, you have put it, very clear and practical advices that everyone can follow. And it is definitely, when we say today is a overflow of information, our brains are getting, overstimulus with the kind of information we are receiving as compared to the previous generation. So we need to take care of not even just not physical, even our mental health is of great relevance, and definitely it plays a role, because even if you're out, you are thinking what to do next. That is
Absolutely.
also in your mind. And when we have discussed about e-learning and everything, one thing that comes to me, that as a career counselor, we need to advise the students. And if you can just throw a light on, because of pandemic, everything has gone online. How, and people are little, not open to online consulting. And they see it from, like, they will not get the right guidance if you are online. So my next question is from a career mentor only, and he's asking that how can career consulting and mentoring happen online, and even the psychometric assessment relevance, because most people, they are ready to spend lakhs of rupees on a tuition for a subject that child might not be interested, or might not be best fit for it, but they are reluctant to go for the psychometric assessment. So if you like to say some words for them, and how, if even the guidance can happen, consultation can happen online.
Very important question, Kavita ma'am. And thank you so much, sir, for asking this question. Now, being a career consultant, I've faced this issue since 2015, because 2015 was the first year I decided that I need to make my services available online. Now, imagine 5 years ago, when there was no proper 2G was mostly there, 3G was a luxury, Wi-Fi was unheard of, but I wanted to take my services online. And I would counsel people on phone. People are just not ready. They were not ready. So I kept on pushing, and nothing really happened. But suddenly, now, because there is no option, they have realized this, and the behavior is slightly changing. Now, let me put it this way, guys. Any service today can be given online. Any service, unless and until it is something which requires physical contact, like medicine. And even in medicine, actually, there is telemedicine, which is advancing really well, and you'll know more about it in the coming years. Everyone will know about it, actually. But most of the services can be given online, because service is not really a product. Service is something where you consult on any amount of things. Yesterday I was talking to the founder of this hosting platform from Bangalore. And what they are doing is they are providing a platform for people who are yoga teachers, who are dance teachers, who are cooking experts, to teach people across the country. Now, all these things, they're very simple to understand, right? Yoga, okay, I will watch that guy. That guy will tell me about yoga. We will practice together, and that's it. But the moment it comes to some sophisticated services like career consulting, people suddenly, because they don't understand what career consulting is, and because in India we have this, entire thought process that What career consulting? My uncle will tell me better. My bhaiya knows, or my didi knows better because she has gone to that college. So obviously she knows better. What they don't know is whether your bhaiya or didi is happy over there or will be happier in the future or not. And those things only experienced career counselors like you, ma'am, and other people can do. And that happens from a scientific basis, which is based on a psychometric assessment. So let me take an example over here, an analogy. If a lot of people who are here and they're from the business background, they will understand this very well. There is something called market research. And I did an internship in Bangalore in 2009 about market research. And I asked the founder, I said, sir, I am a computer engineer. I don't know anything about market research. Tell me, please define market research for me. He said, let's say tomorrow you want to make TVs. You want to manufacture TVs in India. And you think that this should be there in a TV and it will sell like hotcakes. Are you sure about that? Before investing crores and crores of rupees in manufacturing TV, would you mind spending a little amount, less than 1% of that amount, 0.5% amount, in first understanding what kind of TV you should make? Who should you sell that TV to? Which kind of showroom should your TV be in? How big the TV should be? And I said, yes, that makes sense. Before investing crores of rupees, I should just spend a little bit of amount of time and money to understanding what the market is like. And that is what market research is. Now just imagine, you want the best thing for your child. You want your child to become an engineer, a doctor, an artist, a cricketer, anybody. Why do you want your child to become a doctor, engineer? Well, because mostly you want your child to be happy at the end of it, right? You want your child to have a good life, a good amount of money, a flat, a car, and all those things. And you think by becoming a good professional, you will be able to afford all these things. But do you really know whether your child will be happy in that career? Whether that career option that you're choosing for your child or your student is the right one for that student? Do you know what's going to happen 5 years down the line in that career option? Do you know whether your child or student can make more money or have more success and more happiness in some other aspect rather than pushing him into CA and law and all these things? So it is a question of knowledge and information. Yes, you might be very good at what you do. That does not mean you know everything else about all the other career options in the world. So who can tell you this? Google? Yes, please go ahead, Google it. And you will see every kind of information, but that will not give you the answer because it is not personalized. The personalized information can only be provided to you through career consultants. And how do we provide it? So just imagine this live webinar is not happening, but this is a video call happening between two people, a career consultant and you. It is as good as a normal conversation. And this is something which my clients from NCCN, Kavita ma'am, Sunanda ma'am, they can all tell you that all of them who have experienced online consulting, they have not said that this is a bad experience. Teaching experience is different. All right, learning experience is different, but consulting experience is seamless. We will make you, we will give you a link where you can do the assessment in very little time. We will get the results instantly. And looking at the results, we can give you the consulting very, very fast. And it all happens. And so with technology, we have been able to actually reduce the time. Earlier, it might have taken a week to, process a psychometric assessment, tabulate the results, validate them. Now it takes less than, some hours. So with technology, actually, we can offer you better services right now. And people need to understand that before jumping into lakhs of rupees of investment, just because one IIT coaching center said, everything happens for IITians only. There are no opportunities otherwise. So you have to spend 1.5, 2 lakh rupees and you have to start teaching your child from 7th standard. Completely bogus. That is a sales pitch. Somebody is trying to sell you something which is very expensive and which might not be of use to you. So before spending those 2 lakh rupees, just imagine if you could spend a very small amount compared to it and see whether that 2 lakh investment is right or wrong, or whether you should spend those 2 lakh rupees in IIT or something else, because the return ultimately will be the happiness of your child. So if you want your child to be happy, you need to get consulting, career consulting, as soon as possible. That means 9th, 10th is the right time. Go ahead. Nobody's forcing you. But then by that time, so psychologically speaking, by the age of 14, 15, our cognitive behavior, students' cognitive behavior is developed enough that they can tell you whether they are good at a subject or not. Now, if the child knows, then somebody has to understand what the child knows and tell you what it means. So, one fine day, there was this, mom calling me, and she was saying, my son, he's very good with gadgets. So I said, does he do any kind of coding? No. He knows everything about gadgets. My son, he's also very creative, and he's also talking about a lot of things, but somehow his performance in school is not great. So I said, okay, ma'am, do you know what all these things mean? Do you know what these observations mean? Because I can tell you what it means. I have done that. Career counselors like me have studied this, and then can tell you, but probably you cannot make sense of it on your own. And by the time it's too late, you push your son into, or you push your daughter into some college, and that college is teaching something else. And then career switch happens at the age of 25. You don't want to get into that. So I spent 7 years in engineering before realizing I did not enjoy engineering. Do you want the same future for your child, especially during pandemic, when we know the job market is bad? We don't know what's going to happen to the jobs in the future. So I think I will leave that question with that answer. I spoke a lot.
Definitely, Saurabh. You're talking about, 14, 15 years. I have a neighbor. After doing BTech, she says, this is not I wanted to do. And imagine the years they have spent. Apart from money, it's your precious years of a student you are putting over there. So
Exactly.
it's worth thinking and worth understanding that taking little guidance from a professional and using the scientific tool that is a psychometric assessment can help you understand the right path for your child, and it will put all the focus, attention, direction to the right career to pursue. And with that, we move to the next question. This question is about, e-learning. We talked about how you can use it for your learnings, about your academia, about different courses, and when we know the course, how you can pursue. Now I like to move little apart, different from here. So now I would like to know, how can you make career in e-learning, and what are the option career in e-learning offers you? What kind of jobs will are there in a e-learning, I would say, career, if you want to pursue your course or your academia to be into edtech, into be e-learning platforms. So if you can guide on that.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful question. So before we answer that question, all right, I want all the viewers to imagine something. Imagine your entire school, university, tuition center, test prep center. It doesn't exist anymore. There is no building anymore. Everything is on the cloud. Everything is on internet. So if everything is on internet, that means all the things which used to be there in the school, in the college, in that building, need to be there online as well. You need everyone, from security to teaching to people who prepare food to people who are managing your fees, all the accounts department, admin department, everything has to be online. Then people who used to write books and they were printed and given to you, now those books have to be completely online. In fact, they cannot be books anymore. There has to be more interactive media in it, more videos, more graphics, more simplification. Then one more, a lot of Indians think that internet is basically English. And right now you will see, you can actually already observe a lot of major vernacular languages in India. Hindi, definitely. Bengali, Telugu, Tamil, Punjabi, Marathi, Gujarati, all those books, all those videos that you made in English have to be translated into Hindi now. Editing a normal video, like I do podcasts, so I can tell you it's a big pain. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of skill. So people learn for years before they actually get into video editing, and they can become a professional and then start working for media houses and movies and stuff. All these things which I talked about, somebody has to do them. And all those jobs are right there for you. So let's talk about courses now. First is obviously, because it is related to computers, so engineering, programming. So you can either become a programmer through an engineering course, or a BCA or BSc IT or MCA and something like that. Or you can just start learning right now, because guess what? In computer engineering, you don't, software programming, you don't really need any degree also. There are children of 10 years of age who have started their own internet companies. Then coming to graphic designing. Graphic designing is the most in-demand skill right now. If you go to any recruitment website right now, you will see maximum number of jobs are there. Graphic designing, video editing. Why? Because everyone has to shift everything online now, including EdTech. So EdTech is leading the space. They need more and more graphic designers. So creativity now has to completely be digital. Coming to the next part, social media marketing. So, we are making this video right now. It is being published on Facebook. We will share the links. We shared the links in the past few days on different social media. How does somebody understand where to put the links? How does somebody understand how to make a video on Facebook? How to make a graphic? Social media marketers. So from all the people who are studying commerce and business, this is where you're going next. All right. Then obviously teaching. So anything that you want to teach, it can be share market. So you can go on YouTube right now, and let me give you a tip. If you want to be a YouTuber, this is what you should do. On YouTube, there are a lot of videos in English and in Hindi as to how to become a share market expert, day trading and all these things. But there are very few videos in other languages. So if you speak a language other than English and Hindi, start making YouTube videos about share market if you have the knowledge right now. And somebody will approach you, you will start monetizing it. On top of all that, curriculum development. So as I said in the beginning, the status of e-learning in India right now is not that great. Across the world, it's not that great. Schools and colleges are just struggling with it. How can we improve the experience? So e-learning, what is missing in e-learning is the teacher, is the human engagement, and emotion fuels that engagement. So, remember that class, that special class, your favorite teacher, when that teacher was telling you something about, so one of my social studies teachers, I'm really fond of him, and he would tell us about volcanoes, and he would bring cuttings from newspapers, and he would show us, oh, in Iceland, this volcano has exploded. And it would be so amazing. That entire period of SST was the highlight of my day, if not the week. So all of you remember that class, right? All of you have that class with you. But that doesn't happen anymore in e-learning. So how can we improve the experience? People need to start studying about education, curriculum development, engagement, and doing a lot of things. So all the people who are in the edtech industry, let me give you a tip. As an e-learning expert, I can tell you that this is what the future is going to look like. You should invest in this. Our education system is very linear. This is the lesson. You study. You take the test. That's it. It's a very linear transactional system, right? What happens in e-learning, what happens in school and universities is teacher is coming to the class, teaching, and the student understands. They're given some problems to solve, and suddenly one of the students gets stuck, and the teacher comes to the seat, and the teacher says, okay, what is the problem? The teacher explains the concept. That micro concept or that micro topic is explained by the teacher. In e-learning, that is not happening very efficiently. So what you need to do is start of the lesson, towards the end of the lesson, the exam, big exam, you need to make subtopics so that if a student gets stuck, there is an entire e-learning program for that subtopic. The student goes through that problem, goes back into the linear stage. All right. It is called adaptive and interactive e-learning. So all the edtechers out there, please focus on this a lot. So these are just some of the jobs which will be there mostly. And then coming to hardware, augmented reality, virtual reality. if you really want to bring the school into your house, then you need to make it look like the school as well. And that is where you will use those augmented reality goggles and other devices to make it happen. And technologists, electronics engineers, people working in artificial intelligence, machine learning, this is the future. And this is just for school and university. Now if we talk about what is happening in the corporate world, and as I think Kavita ma'am will be able to tell you more, because, and Sunanda ma'am as well, because both of them are from the corporate world, their trainings happen completely differently. Their trainings happen on a very functional basis. Which function do you want to learn? Do you want to learn about healthcare? Do you want to learn about data mining? Do you want to learn about ports and infrastructure for shipping? Now just imagine all the kind of courses being made for those e-learning courses also for corporate level upskilling. So I think I can go on and on. I become very passionate, ma'am, so please stop me also at times.
Okay. Thanks, Saurabh, for putting it, very rightly that in e-learning, I would say there are plethora of careers, and immaterial you are from science stream or commerce stream or art stream. It is something is there for each and every person if you are focused and have interest in moving your career towards e-learning, being a edtechpreneur, edtech open edtech company, or you want to have like vernacular language you have mentioned, you can create your own videos and do it and optimize on that. I think it would have given a fair idea to everyone that if you're a science student, art student, or commerce student, it doesn't matter. You can still start your career in a edtech company. And if you like to, get ahead in your career, uh, following the academia, your own studies, you can get a different perspective and different I would experiential learning or peer learning, you say, or community based learning that you have Saurabh has mentioned earlier. It can help you to move ahead, have a better understanding of a subject, and definitely it will give you a way forward, footing to go ahead and be successful in whichever career you like to pursue. So with that, I'd like to invite Sunanda to please give the vote of thanks. And Saurav, it was absolutely fantastic talking with you. And you have given with clarity and sorted everyone's, doubts which were there about e-learning and how to go about it and how to optimize it for your own goal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Well, Saurabh, Kavita, thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful insight. In fact, a moment back before we were starting this session today, I was, asking someone to write, you know, a topic on future of e-learning because, as you know, that we are the managing editor and associate editor for the magazine Career Beacon, and now that exam results are going to come on 15, people are scared. They are looking at multiple things, and as you rightly said, YouTube youth is very easy to be a YouTuber now if you know other language. So, what I was thinking is university may not be able to survive. The future would be outside the campus, outside the traditional classroom, and distance learning or e-learning could be as fast as possible. This is what we were thinking. But positive side of the pandemic is there are certain companies which have boomed like anything, especially the edtech company, e-learning companies. People have gone on virtual platform as compared to the physical platform, and it is much easier and approachable today. This is see today every one of us is sitting at a different places. Our audience is sitting at a different places. We are able to talk. We are able to take the questions. We are able to answer that. Had it been a normal, it would, had it been the previous normal, then there could have been a thing that okay, I have to ask Saurabh come to this venue, maybe Kavita to another venue, and then we will have all the flashlights and everything. Today, at the comfort of home, we are doing that. So this is the positive side of the COVID. Well, to all the students who have heard about e-learning, and if you still have any questions that what are the future opportunities, what are the career opportunities, because everything cannot be taken care of in a span of 60 minutes. So our experts like Saurabh is there, then we have Pratmesh, we have Kavita, we have Nutan, we have Sanjeev Gupta, Chitra, everyone. We have 2,000 career mentors across us with us who are associated with National Career Counselors Network. And believe me, they all are on the mission that they should help you during the pandemic and post-pandemic also, that how to manage your career choices. So as rightly Saurabh has shared and stressed upon, do not see a fancy career and come to that career. Go to a mentor. It is investment for your career. You want to invest 20 lakh rupees, 27 lakh rupees a year to go abroad or maybe to study in a reputed university. So better is that do a little of market research. Career counselors are there. Yes, nothing comes for free. So there is a nominal amount which you have to pay, but certainly for the people who are watching us today, until today is 4th of July, until 7th of July, if you want to register with us for any of the career mentoring session, either with Kavita, either with Saurabh, or any of the other career mentors, please feel free to share your number and details with us on the Facebook session, on the LinkedIn, wherever we have posted. We are available on Instagram, and you can share us a personalized message. We will ensure that we are reaching back to you and you get 50% discount on the career mentoring. With this, we come to the first session, end of the first session. Next week, we are going to come up with another, right session for you. You can share us your queries. We already have started our speaker. On 18th, we will have Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, who is from the telecom background with the background of operations, who will be talking about various career options in the telecom and what can be done. Followed by that, Mr. Pratmesh Kopte, who is going to come and discuss the thing. So with this, we sign off. Saurabh, thank you so much for taking your time and energy to share all the details. Kavita, thank you so much for such a probing thing. I'm sure, if as a psychometric person, I can say that you are a person who is going with quite a detail, and Saurabh is, immensely merged and passionate about e-learning because we can go on until we just break in that please stop here. So thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Saurabh, for such an enlightening session. With this, we sign off today and we'll come next week, same time, with a new topic, new speaker. Until then, stay safe, stay at home. And until unless it is required, do not move out of the home, though it is an unlocked period, but still safety is utmost required. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.